Tomorrow, a huge event will happen in the cryptocurrency market. In this video, I'll explain what that event is and also talk about XRP bouncing in a very important spot and what that means for the price chart. Guys, the price chart gave us a big confirmation earlier today. In this video, I'll explain why that's happening and talk about where XRP is going in the future as a whole. Your help is very much appreciated. As always, thanks a lot. Thank you to everyone who liked the movies and signed up for the channel. These two easy things help me a lot. So let's get right to it, because I want to start this video by talking about something big that's happening tomorrow that I think will show the cryptocurrency business as a whole in a bigger light. When it came to crypto, TradFi held their ground for a long time and pushed back as hard as they could. And the present moment is very different from what it was even a few years ago. It didn't matter how loud the other side was. That's something I always told people. You might have been against the internet when it first came out. You could have yelled that it was dangerous, pointless, and impossible to scale. Everything else didn't matter because the science was too strong. The same is true for Bitcoin as well. In the short term, it doesn't matter which officials say something is okay or not okay. It doesn't matter who says bad things about it. Anybody who tries to make a fake product that says it's blockchain but isn't really does not matter. That doesn't matter at all. When a technology achieves escape velocity, it comes into being on its own. Stop hard. I told everyone this would not last as soon as this came out. People who bought from them would leave and the money would go to someone who did support crypto. And now we are. Tomorrow, Vanguard is finally changing its mind about crypto ETFs and putting all of its $10 trillion in invested funds on the cryptocurrency market. Take a moment to think about that. $10,000. It has a huge effect on the whole market system, even if only a small amount of that goes into Bitcoin, Ethereum, or eventually XRP. But what's more important is that it means something much bigger. It's no longer possible to fight crypto. TradFi can whine all they want, but the acceptance curve will keep going. They will lose users, market share, and attention if they try. The tech always comes out on top, and this change at Vanguard has a direct connection to the talk about XRP. We keep hearing from people at the top of the Bitcoin community that institutions will accept Bitcoin forever, that nothing will change, that there will be no need for upgrades or evolution. And technology doesn't work that way. In all of history, no business has ever stayed the same. Check out the web. Google was ahead at first, but NVIDIA's AI took over and ate the world. People who put money into Google early on made a lot of money, but search engines weren't the only thing that changed, and Bitcoin won't be the only thing that changes either. Some people still want to act like we're going to run the world's banking system on slow, old, and expensive legacy technology. They want you to think that the way things are, high fees, slow settlement, and old buildings is just how things are. On the other hand, XRP was designed to be used for high-volume financial infrastructure and institutional-grade payment. It's the tech that banks really need. It's the system of liquidity that the world's markets really need. And now for the truth. Which technology wins is decided by the market, and XRP is the only digital currency that is better positioned when it comes to regulatory clarity, institutional functionality, and real-world adoption. Not at all. People can pick up rocks, judge, joke about it, and say it's not true. But in the end, the market will decide who wins. It has always worked that way. When it comes to real use, XRP just checks all the boxes. Elites are said to be in charge of everything and will decide when this tech works. You can see that they can slow it down, they can fight it. They may stop, but they can't stop changes in the way things are built. We looked it up on the web, we saw it on our phones, and we saw it on social media. We can see it now with blockchain. Too many people around the world want these technologies to stop because they are too widely used and not controlled. And Vanguard, which is one of the world's most powerful banking companies, fought back for 2 months, and they gave up. Imagine that you think someone else will wait longer. People will have to deal with this takeover whether they want to or not. And the most important thing is to see that XRP is right in the middle of this change. The smart money sits quietly while everyone else is busy fighting over charts and memes. Smart money invests for the long run. Smart money doesn't follow the craze. They keep getting winners. The market is acting like nothing is going on right now. We know what's going on behind the scenes, though. We can see the group efforts. We can see the halls. We can see the business connections. Daily candles shake up traders who trade based on feeling, but the basics keep getting stronger. In fact, something very important took place today, which is why we're here with the XRP price chart. Check out the biggest companies that are getting into the area right now. They don't want to get tops. They don't want to follow the green lights. They want to save money. They want you to be scared. They want to be unsure. They want dips that are caused by news. They want things to happen that would normally make someone think that everything is over. And when the normal person gets scared, these same things keep building up steadily and quietly. It has always worked that way. And these short-term price drops are just what they use to do it. This is what people need to learn. Market manipulation isn't always done by bad people. Most of the time, it's because they need cash. Big players need a lot of people to join. They need different orders. People can't build up if they only buy things. What do? They create a situation that makes people want to buy. They get in through panic selling. The trend is the same for all major types of assets. Forex, coins, stocks, metals, and goods. The mechanics are the same. Now we get to the important part. Even with all the noise, fear, and short-term drops, XRP has not fallen below the most important economic support. Not even close. It's very clear on the map. XRP has been strongly resisted every time it has been tried to fall below $2. Buyers jump in right away. Wicks shape, spikes in volume, the market takes in pressure to sell, and this is exactly what a bottom looks like over the long term. Do not forget this. Daily candles don't mean much when you're in a broad range. It's important to know where the real liquidity zones are and where the longer time frames end. Since the beginning of 2024, XRP has been in the same wider range. They've felt better and worse. The noise has changed levels. The structure, on the other hand, hasn't changed much. When you look at the monthly chart, everything looks very strong. It's easy to see what this building stands for. It's not being weak. Breakdown is not it. Failure is not it. After breaking out, it's now settling down. A classic dart shape. It's like pulling a rubber band tight. The release is stronger the longer you stretch. That's how far the market is pulling this rubber band before letting it go. This is how all long-term investors feel, no matter what market they're in. You sit through what seems like a never-ending loop of sideways motion. You have to deal with fake-outs, shakeouts, temporary crashes, bad news, confusion, sarcasm, doubt, and the community's mood changes. Then, almost right away, the market goes the other way, and everything is clear now. And that's what makes these times so hard. People who make it through these areas aren't the loudest. It's not like them to get upset. They aren't the ones who constantly look at the chart. They are the ones who understand the basics. They know what it means to adopt for a long time. They know that the big picture trend is much more important than the light from yesterday. Which brings us to the basics of XRP. To be honest, they look better now than at any other time in XRP's past. Today, everything that was important in 2017, 2020, 2021, and early 2024 is still important. Things are better now, though. The channels of liquidity are stronger. The position of the institution is better. It is easier to understand the rules now. There is more desire for instant settlement around the world. It's also more important than ever for the banking system to become more modern. This is what I mean when I say that daily lights don't make someone successful. A 50% drop doesn't mean that the project got 50% worse. It just means that the price changed. Price changes all the time. Things that are important don't move at the same speed. Because of this, people who base their understanding of a project on price often lose their ground right before the big move starts. Remember the last time around. Can you remember how people felt about XRP before it went crazy? People were mad. Everyone was worn out. People didn't want to wait. They said that nothing bad would ever happen. They said the plan was over. And the market changed almost overnight when most people gave up. Right now, the same trend is happening again, but this time it's much bigger. That's because the new people coming into the market today are not small-scale sellers. They are international organizations. These are big funds. They set the prices. They build things like roads and bridges. They are groups that encourage adoption and have real long-term goals. It doesn't matter if it costs $1.80 or $2.10. It doesn't matter if you dip 10% or pump 5%. They want to be in a good situation before the global financial system changes. That's the reason the charts look the way they do. That's why the instability can be used to your advantage. That's why the price action looks like it's meant to make you question your whole plan, because someone else wants what you have. They also know that most small buyers give up when the market gets rough. Things that are important to the market never change as quickly as the price. The real-world use of XRP doesn't change from week to week. Every month it stays the same. It changes slowly, quietly, and carefully. Things that were important at the beginning of 2024 are not even close to what they are now. The system is a lot stronger now. It's much easier to see how useful it is. Bigger and bigger numbers of people want what XRP offers. And the world needs a global settlement layer a lot more now than it did even a year ago. The candles make people forget this. They think value is down because price is down. But the truth is that the market often keeps assets from going up in value before big waves of acceptance. That's how building up works. This is how the first group of investors get set up. That's why it's so important to stay focused. Like, people who want to get rid of you don't want you to know what's going on behind the scenes. You shouldn't zoom out. They don't want you to think about the future. They want you to respond emotionally to short-term changes instead of looking at the overall structure and direction of the system. Why? Because it's clear when you zoom out. The long-term chance grows every time the basics get stronger and the price stays the same. That is exactly where we are going with the next part of this conversation, because there is something even more important going on below the surface that most people have missed. This is not advice about money. Before we go into more detail about what's going on behind the scenes, we need to talk about one of the main things that is causing this market cycle. Something much stronger than everyday changes, fear, or fake outs. And that force is desire that is built in. Most people think of cryptocurrency only in terms of traders, speculation, pumps and dumps, feelings, and people who have a lot of power over the market. But that's not how the people who run the economy think. They don't mind short-term drops. Red days don't bother them. They do not care about the noise on social media. Long-term structural fixes that get to the root of the problem are important to them. And that's exactly where XRP stands, stronger than ever. In order to understand, it is helpful to look at what global institutions are doing instead of what they are saying. They are getting ready for a time when money moves like data does on the internet, instant, without borders, and never ending. For that world to be built, they need building blocks, not talk. They need layers of settlement, not layers of guesswork. They don't need blockchains that get clogged when demand goes up. They need systems that can work all over the world. The market doesn't pick based on what's popular. It's picking based on what's best for you. This is what most people don't understand. Adoption almost never happens in public or in plain sight. Positioning is already done by the time the news stories catch up. Take a look at past changes in technology. The internet, mobile phones, and the cloud. The adoption process didn't start when the news said it did. Adoption started slowly years ago when the infrastructure was still being built and the main players were securing their spots. With blockchain now, the same thing is taking place. XRP is right in the middle of this change. A lot of people don't realize how slowly organizations work. They don't think about how long it takes for an industry to change. But they also don't take into account one more thing. If an institution does decide to change, they do it quickly. A single choice can lead to dozens of others. One adoption sets off whole businesses. When a big person steps in, all the other players have to follow or risk being left behind. Right now, we're going through that change. This is clear from the changes taking place at big banks. You can tell because authorities have changed how they act. It's clear from how quickly the story about blockchain has changed. People who made fun of crypto 5 years ago now want to be known for it. Companies that used to not allow digital assets are now letting them be integrated. Giants who were fighting the wave are now riding it. Things have changed, and once it starts moving, it can't be stopped. This is why the way prices are moving right now is so misleading. Sometimes what looks like weakness is just building up. Sometimes what seems like chaos is just getting ready for a new phase. People who have real money are very patient. They think about years instead of days when they plan. And while small drops in the market shake up small businesses, big institutions quietly build their places for the next 10 years. This is why the long-term nature of XRP is so important. The support being fought for isn't just happening. It's not an accident. It's not luck. These levels are starting points for institutions. In the past, smart money has stepped in these places. The proof can be seen on the map. Strong bounces, quick rebounds, lots of money in the market, and a lot of selling pressure being absorbed. The real story, though, is told by the principles, not the charts. That's where the truth is. Because it's very easy to understand once you take emotion out of the talk and focus on what XRP really does. The world's banking system needs settlement in real time. They need to work quickly. They need less sticking together. Interoperability is what they need. They need infrastructure that works on a world scale. That's already what XRP does. A lot of people ask, why hasn't the price changed yet? It's easy to say. Price always comes after actual use. First, build the infrastructure. Value comes after everything else. This is how things have been during every big change in technology. Early internet businesses didn't really take off until many years after the basics were set up. The world didn't fully understand what AI could do until many years later. The pattern for every new tool is the same. Build phase is quiet, explosion phase is loud. The quiet time for XRP is almost over. There are signs all over when you zoom out. Please look at the partnerships, take a look at the business connections, take a look at the talks about the global deal that are going on behind closed doors, take a look at how the old financial system is being pushed to become more modern, take a look at how quickly Bitcoin rules have changed compared to the past, look at how liquidity corridors are popping up in different parts of the world. It's not a coincidence, it's planned out, it's about structure, it's everywhere. And once you know that, all the daily noise stops being important. Most of the time, people who are upset right now are looking at the wrong part of the story. They are not paying attention to cycles, but to lights. They are paying attention to noise instead of the basics. They're focusing on fear instead of building things, and the system wants that to happen. Retailers got scared, but institutional clients were patient. For when regular people give up is when the next big movement starts. Just ask yourself one thing. Why do the fundamentals keep getting better every year, but the price stays in a long-term accumulation zone? It's not because people don't want it. It's because value isn't fully unlocked yet. When large-scale global settlement moves to blockchain rails, value will finally catch up to usefulness. Not all at once or right away, but quickly, as it always does in markets that are changing. This is why it's so important to keep your eye on the bigger picture. Why? Because it's not always the traders who make the most money during these changes. They know what the trends are. They are the ones who can see where the economy is going. They don't pay attention to short-term noise and instead focus on long-term positioning. That's exactly where buyers in XRP are now, on the edge of the biggest change in money in modern times. You must be careful not to let short-term changes make you forget what you have. Because the window of cheap positioning will close soon if the fundamentals keep getting stronger, if institutional adoption keeps going up, if global rails keep moving, and if financial giants keep changing their minds like they are now. Once more, people see how valuable something is. Markets don't stay cheap for long. There is only so much that the slingshot can stretch. That's why a lot of people will be surprised by the next part of this market, which will happen in the coming months and years. There were signs, but most people were too busy with short-term issues to see the long-term situation that was happening right in front of them. That's why now is the time to learn, get in the right place, and discover the secrets that the richest 1% use to make money that changes their lives.